First Samuel chapter 1 and verse 11. Remember me, O Lord. First Samuel 1:11. It says, and she vowed a vow and said, O Lord of hosts, if thou will indeed look on the affliction of thy handmaid, and remember me, somebody say, remember me, and not forget thy handmaid, but will give unto thy handmaid a man child. She was specific. Then I will give him unto the Lord all the days of his life, and there shall no razor come upon his head. Praise God. She said, if you will remember me. This is a strange prayer, and I've never quite understood it. Because why would you tell God, if you will remember me? Why would you tell God, don't forget me? When God clearly states in Isaiah 49:15, Isaiah 49 verse 15, that he cannot forget. If he says he cannot forget, why am I telling him, remember me, O Lord? But you see, you can't understand somebody's prayer point if you are not wearing the person's shoes. You cannot understand why I'm rolling on the floor praying if you are not in my situation. You cannot understand why I'm jumping up and praising God if you've not been through what I've been through. You can't judge my ways until you have walked my path. You can't judge another person if you are not in that person's shoes. I could have judged Anna that you are accusing God of forgetting you. How dare you accuse God? But I can give you some illustrations to explain to you when such times come, when it seems as if you've been forgotten. Let me do like that, Gio, my father, and show some illustrations. Recently, we were returning back from our trip. Because there was a delay somehow because of the weather, and we had to go somewhere else to land, and then now return back to where we were supposed to connect our flight. All that time, we missed our connecting flight. And when we got there, they told us we'd missed it. And I said, we're going to Lagos. They said, well, okay, no problem. We'll arrange another flight. Just wait over there. And so I got to waiting with my wife and daughter. Oh, I was waiting and just relaxing. I wasn't checking the time. But my wife was very time conscious. Suddenly she told me that it's been like 2 hours. They told us to wait, or 3 hours. So, are you sure they haven't forgotten us? So I went to remind them. Remember me. Oh. This is going. So it seemed like they had forgotten us because nothing was happening. And we're just sitting there. It's possible for your life to be like nothing is happening. And you're just sitting right there. And you're wondering, okay, when is God going to attend to my case? Praise the Lord. You can't understand this prayer point except you've been there. You can't understand it except you've experienced this kind of thing that she's been through. Two people missed the same flight. One, they were telling him, well, I was listening to her because I was waiting right behind her. They were telling her, when do you want to connect? We have one for tomorrow, and then we have one for 48 hours later. That one. She was asking, when is the one for 48 hours going to leave? This. She had nothing at stake. She was not in a hurry. She didn't have to say, remember me. She was still considering leaving 2 days later. Oh, are you going to put me in a hotel? They said, yes. Oh, I said, look at this one. I said, pick your day and just get out of my way. But another man who was way in front of me was screaming and shouting at them. What nonsense. This. Even while they were telling him to wait later in the day to go, he could not. He said he had to be there right now. They must get him out of it. One was screaming. Why? Both situations were different. You can't judge the man except you know why he's screaming. You don't know what's waiting for him. Praise the Lord. And so I do know that this service is not for everybody. When it comes to remember me, O Lord, it's not for everybody. Some people are like the woman who could wait 2-3 days to fly back. No problem. You're going to put me in a hotel. You're feeding me. Hey, glory be to God. Let me enjoy my time here. But some of us who are like Hannah are the ones who want it right now. The ones who are crying to God and who are going to pray and say, Lord, remember me. Don't forget me like Hannah did, like Hannah prayed. I'm here this morning. The Lord brought me for some Hannahs. Some Hannahs in the house will understand what I'm talking about. The disciples told Jesus about one woman, said, send him away, he's crying and following us. Jesus knew what that woman was after. The disciples saw, wahala, what kind of useless noise is this one? She was saying, don't forget me. I'm with you. I'm still coming. I'm still behind. I'm still waiting. Hannah. As I thought about Hannah, I realized what made her so desperate. And many of us here today, including me, are like Hannahs in the waiting. Oh, beautiful Hannah, trusting God to get married. Just like we're trusting God to get into school at one point. Trusting God for graduation at one point. Trusting God to start a business at one point. Trusting God for the business to grow. Trusting God for promotion at one point. Trusting God for a job at one point. Hannah was trusting God for, and then marriage comes. And she dances and celebrates. She rejoices. Everybody around her, hey, Hannah, here say you don't marry. Hey, glory be to God. And she's rejoicing. Just like we rejoiced. I rejoiced when I got a job for the first time. I was happy. I was shouting. I was ecstatic. I couldn't sleep because they had given me a car. Just like you are happy when you have that child. You are happy when you started building the project. When a new thing begins. And so it began. But then, a few months down the line, they were looking down her stomach, down her womb. Nothing was going on. And she was like, oh, come on, it's just going to take a while. And she waited. Just like some of us are waiting for that job. A little while became a long while. A long while became a long while. A long while was becoming a lifetime of waiting. Some are waiting for the business to prosper. Oh, they've told you that it will start small. Don't worry, it will take about a year or two and things will get better. You know, when you start a new business, and then a year or two have come and gone. It's still not yielding anything. Yet it's opening its mouth and desiring for more. You've got to change this car, change this chair, change this person. And it's sinking in more and it's not bringing anything. A year or two have gone in that marriage. And then you are wondering, when is the joy going to come? I rejoiced when this happened, but where is the joy right now? She was wondering, when is it going to come? Nobody was telling her anything. And then, of course, to further assure her that the problem was hers, the husband had a child through another woman. So there was no case of saying, well, it's as if Elkanah, you have low sperm count. No. He will say, go and ask Penina. You are the one who has the problem. So it points back to her. And there she was celebrating other people's victory. Because they will bring the other children for dedication. She will be forced to attend because she's family. How many times have you been forced to celebrate with others? You are trusting God to get married and somebody is bringing a dress for you and say, I need you to be my chief bridesmaid. You are trusting God for a child and somebody saying, baby dedication, I'm naming the child after you. You are going to be the godfather, godmother, and yet your own has not come. You are trusting God for healing and somebody is doing thanksgiving for healing, but it's the same thing you are asking God for. You are right in the waiting. You are trusting God for your business to prosper, and then someone else is calling you to come and help them dance as they celebrate, as they open another branch, yet another branch, yet another branch. Meanwhile, the little branch you have is about shutting down. Those are the Hannahs who are wondering, when is my... And at one point, you get tired of listening to other people's testimony. Oh, maybe it hasn't happened to you. You are very holy. I get tired of hearing other people's testimony at times. And I say, Lord, okay, all of them don't talk. When is my own testimony going to come? You said rejoice with them that rejoice. I've been rejoicing with them. I go rejoice, die for other people. When are they also going to come and rejoice with me? Those must have been the things that crossed Hannah's mind, because she has gone to Shiloh several times. It wasn't her first time. She's gone there, she's cried. Her prayer point, and there are some Hannahs here this morning, your prayer point has remained one major one for a long time. Every time they say ask God for something, it's that one thing. Even the angels already know. Once they say ask God for something, they are like this, they know what you are going to ask because you've said it several times. That was Hannah. At Shiloh, her prayer point would have been picking. That's Hannah. But this day she said, Lord, you will remember. I don't know whether you've forgotten me, but you will remember me. Lift up your right hand and say, Father, remember me today. Oh, I went through something recently. I guess sometimes God puts us through pains to help us to deliver something he wants us to deliver. I had serious pains like I'd never had before. And it just kept coming gradually. It will come, it will go. I'll say, get out, this. And then this day, during this trip, it just came and I was in serious pain. I could barely talk. My wife knew something was wrong, but I didn't know how to say it. And the pain just continued to increase. I was quietly praying in tongues. So I said, no. I entered inside the room. I shut myself in and I told her I'm just going to be there for some hours. I prayed in tongues for about 3 hours. The pain intensified. It was getting worse. The more I was praying and screaming, it was getting worse. My wife will send Isabel in and say, is daddy done? She will come out and say, no, daddy's still praying. When I got tired, I got up on my knees and I sat on the bed. And I looked up. Tears. It was so painful that I had tears in my eyes. I said, Lord, are you going to just watch me like this? That was a remember me, oh Lord moment. Because you done all you know to do. And probably a bit more. But now you know that if God does not step in, this is it. I said, Lord, are you going to just keep watching me like this? I've prayed all I know to pray. Even if I don't pray in understanding, I've prayed in the spirit, which means you are praying your will through me. Remember me, O Lord. It's a cry of someone who has been in a situation, a location, a battle for a very long time. That's the cry of remember me, O Lord. It has remained constant. The cry of the one who has done all he knows to do, and yet nothing is moving. Samson asked God to remember him. After he had fumbled, Judges chapter 16 verse 28, Judges 16, 28, he said, remember me, O God. Why? Because he knew that the situation he was in, if God does not intervene, he's finished. At the end, his life will end in total shame. I said, I've been there many years in my life. When I started the job and the job was exciting, I got a car, got a driver, and I was happy. Just like Hannah when she got married. Suddenly months came, months went, no sales. And they were expecting sales from me because they thought I was an exciting young man. And I know how well to pass interviews because I could talk very well. But to pass interview is not the main thing. You can pass interview, do the work now. Months went in, no sales, and they began to look at me with one eye, as if this one is quarter to go. And my colleagues were telling me, oh boy, the person that left that territory didn't do this bad, but you are breaking the record. So it looked like I was going. And on a day like this, after service, I stayed back in church and I was in tears crying out to God, Lord, please, don't let me lose this job. Deliver me, remember me was my cry that day. The cry of the one whose prayer point has remained constant is remember me, O Lord. The cry of the one who has heard many people testify of the same thing that you are looking out for. And the people who are testifying are never usually as good as you. They are never usually as diligent as you. They are never usually as holy as you self. And you are wondering, I'm better than this person. You are trusting God for the fruit of your womb. Meanwhile, your classmate in school who did like 15 abortions is just giving birth like rabbits. And you kept yourself. Usually like that. But a time comes when you are just like, Lord, you've got to remember me. Remember me. So those are the Hannahs God brought me here for this morning. There is a situation that must change. There is a place that God needs to visit. There is something that God needs to do. It may not even be for you. It may be for your child. It may be for marriage. It may be for a business. It may be for a career. But you just want to cry, Lord, you will remember me today. Because it seems like I've been forgotten. I've heard other people's testimony. Let them also hear my own. Oh, I'm happy to hear you testify, but I also want you to hear me testify. You've heard others. It's time for people to hear your own. We serve the same God, don't we? All these people that cried, God, remember me. God remembered them. And I want to believe that God will remember you today. I said, I want to believe that God will remember you today. If you believe the same with me, say better amen. Rise up on your feet. Rise up.